Erica, let's do this.
Call the roll, please. I do that.
Mayor Payne.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Best.
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapata.
Present.
Councilman Petrolano.
Here.
Please stand for invocation. Vice Mayor Best.
Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. Hail, Holy Prince, through the power of Almighty God, cast into hell Satan and all the other evil spirits which prowl through the world seeking the ruin of souls.
Amen. Right hand over your heart. No hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, before we begin with our first department, let me just read into the record the memo that I sent to you. After completing our first, not second, our first budget workshop, the updated budget now shows a surplus of $105,639 at the current millage rate of 7.35. After the first workshop, there were two changes that reduced the budget and increased our surplus. Number one, as I mentioned during the first budget workshop, they reduced storage costs from the Historic Society from $6,000 to $4,100 for next year. Second, in reviewing the city council budget with the city clerk, it was noticed that she had budgeted $100 times 22 meetings as the cost for recording council meetings. The actual cost should have been $750 per month for $9,000. This resulted in a savings of $6,400. I have provided to you a table showing the surplus of various millage rates based on the average taxable value of $165,136 for a homesteaded property owned. Um, at the proposed millage cap of 7.35, the average homesteaded property would see an increase of approximately $5.21 since the assessed value of the property increased by 2.1% under the sale of home. Also on page 1-4 of your budget book is a list of list items for consideration by council in order to determine what the final millage will be for fiscal year 1920 and which of the items listed on the wish list council would like to fund with the remaining surplus. And just as a reminder that the final millage will not be set until the second meeting in September, so we still have time to make changes between now and then. The first budget we're going to look at today is human resources, and that's on section 5 of your packet. And on page 5-2, let me read you some of the budget highlights. The proposed budget is $8,811, or 3.4% higher than the fiscal year 18-19 budget. Increase is due in part to increases in salary for the 3% COLA, as well as the health insurance cost of 6%. Then on page 5-3, you'll find his detailed budget by line item. And Bill is here, and you have any specific questions for him.
How you doing? Good. Are there any questions on the budget that from Human Resources? Mr. Bill? I don't have any questions, but maybe others do.
You're off easy.
Bill, I have a question, Mayor, just regarding health care, which seems to go up so high. And I guess this is it out of your budget, or you
No,
negotiate?
the mayor, I think, the manager has a separate account specifically for that.
All of the budgets for medical insurance went up 6%
Across the board.
for all the departments.
What do you-
That was our increase this year.
And Bill, what do you anticipate for the next year or two as far as that? Are we going to be seeing a 6% or?
From what we've been hearing from our consultant, most of the increases are 9 to 10% with the other companies. We were able to originally they came back with 9, was it 9.5?
Yes, and
And because of our history with them, we've been there so many years, we told them, if you don't come in with a lower number, we're gonna go out to market. And they came down to 7, and our consultant told them, unless you come back with 6, they're gonna go out to market, so they came down with 6. But basically, from what the market's doing out there, you're asked what it's gonna be next year or the following year. It all depends on our claim history. We had some pretty large claims in the past year, and I don't know if you want to get into the specifics.
I've actually been shocked. I mean, I've never dealt with health insurance negotiations to see exactly. I always think that, hey, if they got 6% and they got 3%, then we should be able to get 3%. Or I look at around at other places, they're just bad negotiators. But it's not. It's about your claims history. Ultimately, you're looking at it. We're a small organization, so when there's a person who is going through some very serious health crisis, that's part of what health insurance is to share, to basically to share that burden. And so I was actually surprised, frankly, that we got them down to 6%. I didn't think it was going to happen. It was kind of brinkmanship. So but they ended up agreeing to it. So.
I think if you look at the history, it's probably, in a long time, it's the lowest it's gone up.
I believe you're right.
Yeah,
There was one year when there was no increase. I think the second year we were with United, right?
Yes.
They kept it the same, but then last year they increased it too.
Yeah, but the one year went up 18%.
It was ridiculous, yeah.
Our workforce is actually getting a little bit younger, and
That helps.
maybe healthier.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
So that is helping. So I'm optimistic that it's going to get better. But again, these things we can't predict. We can't predict the kind of serious health conditions that people sometimes have. And again, we're a small organization, so those things can impact that rate. But all in all, I don't think we will change.
Anything else?
Yeah, through the chair. Bill, I know over the years, as the mayor just mentioned a moment ago, we've had some significant increases in this area in health insurance. And I know we fought it before. Sometimes we were successful, sometimes we weren't. Apparently this time we did okay with it. And it's a moving target. I mean, you can't, and again, based on what you said, incidents and how they look at
Right, and I
Al-
know
always
that,
in.
yeah, I mean, right now, there's, Coral Gables is going through their process, but,
Mhm.
I know that, UHC did not even bid on their process. The fact is that, the employees like United Healthcare here, so, and, we really didn't want to change unless we were forced to, but we set we set that red line at 6%. We said, if you can't get down there, then we're not gonna, we're not gonna automatically renew, we'll go to an RFP.
Did you have an option?
Oh, yeah.
An RFP, and
I
yeah,
know, yeah.
I mean, Bob Schaefer thought that that we would get and basically we would go with what came in. I mean, if it came in if everybody came in over 6, then we would take we would base it on that.
Right.
But I think we did okay, and we basically people don't want disruption in their life when it comes to their insurance, especially if you're going through an illness or something. You want to keep the same doctor. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
I heard that before. That was a good segue. Better watch yourself.
Mayor, if I might say
Go
something.
ahead.
Bill, have you looked into Doral? Doral's carrier is really good. You might want to keep them.
Which one is that?
I'm not sure. I was over this weekend and I was talking to some of the council people, and apparently Doral's carrier does a really fine job. The rates are low. If you need me to get you the name, I
Oh,
can.
yeah, sure. Next year, as long as we're willing to, to walk away or a possibility in RFP, that I think helps keep them honest as well too. So if there's better options, good options out there, they know that too.
Let me get you the name, and at least you have it in case you need it. All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Anything else? Okay. Take care.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, let's go to IT Department, Section 12. His budget is on page 12-5, and let me just read some of the highlights. His proposed budget is $45,713, or 14.6% higher than the fiscal year 18-19. The increase is due to a changes proposed for the phone system in City Hall, conversion of a part-time help desk position to full-time, and return to using AWS for disaster recovery for hosted servers, data center, and on standby. Is that about right? And his budget you'll see on page 12-5, and George is here to answer any specific IT questions.
I have a few, Mayor. May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. George, now that you're here, I have a couple of questions for you. Now, I know you're scared of all these viruses coming in. Are we filtering so much that maybe some of the emails are not getting through? Because I have concerns about not getting a lot of the emails. Then I go to junk, and junk is always empty. Years ago, when I first started here, all the emails were going into junk, so I was able to see them. But now there's nothing there, and I'm not getting
It's in your
emails.
Outlook. Right, in Outlook, you're talking about the junk folder.
The junk.
Okay,
They
they're-
used to go there,
they're
but
not
now they're
getting
not
there.
there, and I'm not getting emails.
They're not getting there because the spam service we're using, they capture it first. If there's something they don't get, then it'll end up in your junk folder if it happens to be tagged by Outlook as spam.
Because the League of Cities, all these dinners that they have,
You're not
for
getting
years, for years I was getting them. I haven't been getting them. I
Oh,
mean, I
I'm
get it
sorry.
when Erica sends it to me, like maybe 2 or 3 days before. Last time I went and I spoke to Richard Cooper, who's in charge, and they went and looked, and my email's there. They're sending it to me. I'm just not getting them.
Okay,
So I'm
yeah.
afraid that might be a problem.
Settings might be a little too tight.
Councilman, I get those, like League of City and all those, but I get an email with a whole bunch of things that are on hold, and I have to release them. I can click through them and release
Quarantine
the
them.
ones that I want, which are kind of,
But I don't get that. I know what you know what you're
Right.
talking about, but I don't get that email. So I can't release or anything. Can you look at mine?
You don't get an email from Vercom Motors Cloud.
No, I don't get that. Yeah, that's where,
The
I
daily
remember
report.
years ago, that's where everything that they have concerns for
Right.
that goes there.
Right.
I'm not even getting that one. So maybe we can discuss it later, we can look at it.
Yeah, that's.
All right.
Yeah, because I
I'll
get
check
those
that out.
every morning, and it tells me which
Right.
ones
I used to get that for years and,
you can release,
exactly.
the ones that you want, or, yeah.
Maybe we can talk about that. Now, the other one that I want to talk to you about is the ADA. We spoke here briefly in one of the seminars that I went to this weekend at the League of Cities in Orlando. This is one of the things. There was a group of people that were doing this. They were going out throughout the state and asking for all these documents. And then when the municipalities couldn't create them or come up with them, they would get sued. And then the cities were settling for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Now they
10,000.
changed. Now they changed, and they're doing the ADA. That a lot of the websites are not ADA compliance. So is that something we're working on? They say that as long as you're working on it, you won't have some big of a problem.
Let me tell you where we're at. We got sued by this gentleman
Exactly.
a few months ago, about a year ago, Erica. And our insurance company, the Florida League, handled the lawsuit because this guy has been going around to not only local governments, but businesses. He sued Winn-Dixie and all that. And the suit was based on the fact he's blind and I believe hard of hearing.
Yes.
He could not go into our website and access our records. So the League of Cities settled with him, I think for like, was it $11,000 or $12,000? That's what they. The lawyer gets most of the money. This gentleman gets
Right.
about $3,000 from each lawsuit. And we had to sign as part of the agreement that we would have to comply within 4 or 5 years, 3 years. So at the last Disability Advisory Board meeting that was held last week, every year we get a certain amount of money from the county for fines, disabled ADA fines. This year we got about close to $7,000, $6,000. So what they voted was to use that money towards the ADA program that we're getting. Since we're going to have about 3 years to comply, we're going to put this money on hold, wait for next year's money, put it all together, and Erica's looking at a program that will do just that. So that's what we're working on right now.
This is about our website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get rid of the website?
Well, that's one of the options that they mentioned. They said that the easiest way of doing it is not getting rid of the completely the website. Is just to take down a whole bunch of things. I don't think that's a good option for our residents. Just start taking things down just because you can't make them ADA
For
compliance.
example, I'm required by the state to put the budget, the proposed budget online so residents can have access to it. This program will allow him or someone that's blind to actually go in there and have the budget read to them.
How about hearing impaired? That's the other one. Because if
this-
you have a
this-
video, you need capture. Now, I know in YouTube you have it, but if we have something in our website that was uploaded to the website, not to YouTube, then that needs to be worked on. So that's something we need to keep an eye because they are going around and suing. All right, Mayor, one last question. You're asking for a full-time position, correct? Okay,
Well,
why?
he's asking to, he's got a part-time
Part-time,
now,
make
he
it
wants to
full-time.
go
over to full-time. That's to help, he's helping out quite a bit with the city. He's doing a great job. I want him to also help with the police department, because Mark right now he's getting overwhelmed with what he has. Migration to the new system and the training and 4 years old laptops that he has to keep up with. Servers. Also, we're installing the new mail server on that side. So having Jose be able to put half his time over there and half his time with me on the city side would definitely help.
That's all. Thank you, George. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mayor, I just wanted to add on to what Councilman Petrolanda said with the websites, and there were 3 examples of 3 different systems. Do you remember that are available, but they talked about how 2 of them really don't, they might seem like a good fix, but they really don't solve the problem. I took a shot of it. So there's one that they recommended was the best option, and I'll show it to you, George. I really didn't understand the differences between the 3, but I guess systems that are available for the municipality to purchase to help with the ADA, the website. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention with making Jose full-time, I think that's wonderful. He and you, like you, George, are just a wealth of knowledge and assistance. You're always available, and Jose is too. And I know this technology just keeps getting more and more complex for municipalities and for all organizations.
And the people that want to still get more complex and
Well,
better at what they're doing.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah. Through the chair, George, I know when you started, when you came to the city, you were your own self. You were in an office over there next to Gorlin when he was assistant manager, and you started this out from its infancy. And you built this into something, and what Councilwoman Mitchell said a moment ago, with the changes that continue to happen, you have really brought this forward big time. I think you obviously need some help going forward because it's not going to get any easier.
Anything else?
Thank
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
The next one is an easy one on Section 7, the city attorney budget. That is going to stay the same as the current year at $188,000. So no proposed changes on that one.
It's a flat rate. Huh, William? It's a flat rate.
We're gonna play the video that
And he's not even here.
the video that he sent. We playing the video?
Remember, Jan never
Are
came
we
in.
playing the video that he sent us?
Building department.
All right, Building Department, Section 21. His budget is on page 21-4. Let me just read some of the highlights. His proposed budget is $78,393, or 7.8% lower than the fiscal year 18-19 budget. Let me just mention that this is a separate fund. It's not part of the general fund, so this is a self-sufficient fund. So the decrease is due to the fact that during the current year, they had the software expenditure for fiscal year 18-19 of $214,000. Again, let me mention, according to state law, the fees generated by the building function should be used for the exclusive purpose of funding the operating costs of the building department. You'll see his budget summary, his budget revenues of $962,000, and the expenses for the department are found on page 21-4. And Ulysses is here to answer any specific questions. Again, his budget is based His manpower, inspector pay and all that is based on activity he foresees for next year. And we know we have a couple of big projects coming down next year, so
Good evening.
I guess my question, over here. I guess my question is, you're fully staffed, right?
Will be, yes. We had somebody move from building department to clerk, so we're filling that position. But yeah, we're fully staffed.
he's starting next week. I believe.
Starting on Monday next
And
week.
that position's budgeted. It's
Pardon?
already part of the
Yeah,
budget.
it's part of the
okay,
budget.
okay.
Part of the
Yeah,
budget.
it's part of the
Okay.
budget.
And you have all the software, I remember speaking last year or during the year that you needed.
Yes, yeah, yeah. We're in the process of integrating the old files with the new files, so that's in the works. Yes.
Is that here in the budget, the cost? I know that it was gonna pay for itself, but it wasn't.
Remember, that's part of that technology fee that they collect, and that's set up as a separate
Fund.
item, so it comes from there. It doesn't affect this.
And it pays for itself too, right? It was, okay.
On the permit fees, yeah.
I just wanna thank you for everything you do, because all I do is get good vibes and good comments about your department and everything you guys do there.
Thank
They
you.
tell me it's really nice to go there now, not so nice before, but
Thank you.
thank you for everything you do.
Through the chair, I'll echo that. I've heard from many people that the city is much easier to deal with than it used to be. Thanks to you, Ulysses.
That's the idea.
I have a question, Mayor. Ulysses, as far as staffing, how do you feel the staffing is working right now? I hear from residents, and of course, you know, that's, as elected officials, that's what we hear is from residents, complaints and accolades, but of, you know, do we have enough people out there, and are they really noticing? And I always tell them, if you find an issue, you need to report it to us. You're our eyes and ears, so you need to let us know so we can follow up on it, because obviously, the city can't be in all places at all times. But
Talk about code, yeah. What type of inspection? Or inspectors or staff, office staff?
just general for your building, how do you feel the staffing is for your, I mean, the number, I'm talking about the number of staffing
I would,
positions.
I would
Are
love
we-
to have, I would love to have more inspectors, more building inspectors, or, you know, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, but we are a small city, so I'm trying to do what I can with what I have. So right now I feel comfortable. I wish I had more funds so I could pay the inspectors more time, and instead of coming in 3 days a week, you know, maybe 4 days a week, but it's tough, you know. At the end of the day, I have to balance the budget, so.
And you're doing it with 7.8% less than you asked for last year.
I'd like to add something to that. Having gone through a lot of inspections and things in my house recently with work that I had done, I felt that it was really, the inspectors that came were super knowledgeable. They came when they said they would come. And I do know what you're talking about, that they're only there like maybe 3 days, or some in the morning and some in the evening. That was a little bit of a challenge for me, but the reality is that they let you know ahead of time, and it was all, you know, as they said would be done. So, and I also have heard from the residents the fact that, you know, the process is easier, and also heard compliments about code enforcement people out there, which you don't usually hear a lot of. But lately, it just seems like the way that you're interacting with the residents is very good, or an improvement from what maybe, because maybe there was an overload of work or whatever, but right now, they're positive about it, and that's good.
And
So
if you'll,
congrats.
if you'll notice on his budget on 21-4, there are 2 line items for inspectors. On top, the second line, inspector pay, you'll see that it's an increase of $20,000. And then towards the middle of the page, you'll see contractual services inspectors. That's another $20,000. So in this year's budget, he's got an additional $40,000 for inspectors.
Okay. And,
Inspectors and plan reviewers.
and Mayor, I have,
Have full-time
Yeah,
inspectors.
we-
These inspectors are all part-time. They
Too much
work for
money.
different cities.
But if someone forgets to call an inspection, for example, they say, for example, the inspection is for Wednesday, they forget to call it on Tuesday. Wednesday, if they call us early enough, we'll accommodate them, you know, so we're a small city, but we try to do the best we can to, you know, compensate for the lack of all these inspectors.
and the staff at the front is very friendly.
Oh, they're
and,
great.
Right away,
Yeah,
they
I-
respond as soon as somebody gets there, they, I had one more question, Ulysses. As far as the machinery and equipment, which was that system, I guess, that we got for 200,000 last year, the software, how's that working?
It still hasn't been completely integrated. Like I said, there's a lot of files, old files, code compliance files, building files. Everything has to be scanned. Everything has to be brought to, I guess IT would have been here, would have been easier. But basically, they're integrating the old file with the new system. So it does take about a year to process. We've been working with them probably every month. We meet maybe twice a month, and we give them the files. We give them how we want them to come out on our system, and basically they're customizing our department with our needs, through their software. So it does take time. I make some calls to Miami Lakes. They have the same problem, and they took about 2 years to integrate the old files. So it does take some time, but we are working on them, and we're in constant communications with them.
And the new inspections and all are automatically going into the system, or?
We're still following the same system. We still have the same software. It'll be probably sometime in May of next year that it will be turned over to the new software. So it'll be easier to call inspections and pay over the phone and get the results through the internet. So, but right now we're still using the old system.
Okay.
Yeah, it does take about a year to.
Thank you.
Anything else? I think the most important thing to me, being part of this is that you've done a good job as far as helping people instead of, in my mind, before we had somebody here that didn't really want to help people get their project done in the proper way. It was always a get, and since you've been on here, I know that's been a good, it's been an asset that the people understand that you're there to help them, not just to catch them. And I appreciate that because I know what I went through earlier on before we had our full paid building official. But if there's not any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, Ulysses. Thank you.
Now let's get to the Fund Department, Code Compliance, Section 11. This budget is on page 11-3, and the proposed budget is $8,889, or 4.5% higher than current year. Increase is mainly due to the personnel costs, the increase in the code, increase in health benefits that we mentioned before. And his budget is on 11-3.
Well, are there any questions on budget?
I have none
None?
at this moment.
Anything?
No, sir.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feel better over there?
Yeah.
Feel better?
Ulysses, you can go home now.
She and Maria, Rosemary can go home too.
Rosemary, yes.
All right, Section 14, Parks and Recreation. Oh, Patty, Caitlin, hot seat. Let me read some of the budget highlights on page 14-2 before we begin with the first division. The total recreation budget for fiscal year 1920 is $2,395,222, which is $8,788, or 0.4% higher than the fiscal year 1819 budget. Again, this is the budget for all three divisions, so we'll take a division at a time. The first one is administration. The administration budget is $91,807, or 6.4% higher than fiscal year 1819. This budget includes a payout of approximately $30,000 for a retiring employee. That's part of the increase. Also, for fiscal year 1920, we will be requesting a 5-year capital note, as we've done with the other departments, for improvements at a total cost of $80,500. The budget impact of this lease is $17,442 for fiscal year 1920. Improvements include the following: $26,000 to do the pool deck spray maintenance, $20,000 to resurface 2 tennis courts, $14,500 to laser grade and clay the baseball fields at Stafford and PB Dove, and $20,000 to repair the soccer fields at Stafford. Playhouse again will receive an annual subsidy of $29,000 for fiscal year 1920, which is the same amount as they received this year. So the first budget is on page 14.3 and 14.4.
Who's yours?
Who's retiring?
No, that can't happen.
Mother Goose is retiring, huh?
Can't happen. Patty, you can respond to that if you want.
No, she knows. She's
I know, I see
I
it.
wanted to say it because we
I
might
got
not
you,
see
man.
her up here again, or maybe
Good,
we
good
might.
for you.
That's
We
why
might.
she's here, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forced her to come today.
Good for you. Oh,
How long? How long before you have to leave? October 31st?
Halloween?
You don't sound too happy.
She doesn't.
Well, you know, it's her life.
I know.
She's touched a lot of people in this community
Yep.
in a lot of good ways. So it's
Can you get out of it?
she's fallen.
And is she gonna leave like from one day to the next, and we're not gonna see her, not even on a part-time basis and stuff?
No, she's
here?
coming back part-time. That's one of the reasons why the budget went up a little bit.
Oh,
because we
okay.
had to balance it
Okay,
out.
we can save a lot of money next year. She can
'Cause
go into
I
the drop.
honest-
She's gone. She can come back part-time, and we can pay her less. Well, we can negotiate that, obviously. Of course.
Okay.
Honestly, I just want to say that Pat, she puts out such a positive tone in terms of Parks and Recreation, the way that she treats people, the smile on her face. So
Okay. All right. Any questions on the budget?
The, Mayor, if I may, the promotion that you have here, Omar?
Promotions budget,
Yeah, what is that? Who?
that's our events.
Oh, promotion, okay, I was thinking it was a promotion in staffing, and I didn't know what that, I
No,
get
no,
it,
no.
right.
If
Okay.
you look at
Yeah,
page
I understand.
14-6, it has a breakdown of what makes up the promotions budget.
Right. I was thinking it was another person, and I was confused as to who was getting promoted. You guys do a fantastic job. The community's always such a happy place because of everything the rec department does.
This department, the recreation department, and this is what we're going to go to next now? What's the next part? You said 3 parts?
Next part is on page 14-9. It's the pool budget. The pool budget is $49,988, or 8.4% lower than fiscal year 18-19. Budget includes, as I mentioned in the administrative budget, the $26,000 to provide pool deck spring maintenance. And you'll see the pool budget on 14-9.
Now, is there going to be any changes in the pool administration that runs the pool?
Yes, so right now the proposal is to have Caitlin Smith be our full-time program supervisor for the department.
Right.
For the first couple months, she will be having a role still with the aquatic center, and the great thing is Patty's coming back part-time, so that'll allow Caitlin to be a little bit more diverse with both. James Dean, who's been with us as a lifeguard at the old aquatic center, part-time, then he became full-time. He went to school, got his degree, and now is Caitlin's assistant, is going to be the new aquatic supervisor. We're going to give him a shot. We think he's earned it. He definitely deserves a shot to prove himself to us, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And he's been there now since we opened, so he's got a good grasp of what we're doing there. But the operation will still run. Caitlin will be working at the community center directly with me, like Patty was, and Patty will be there part-time helping us out, and like she always does. So we're hopefully that system will continue to move forward.
I know, through the chair, Omar, I know 7 or 8 years ago, I asked a question in the similar deal we're doing right now, when we were putting the pool in. Are we going to be able to make any money on this?
In the aquatic center?
Yeah.
No, never.
Whoa. I asked that question back then, and it was they didn't even have numbers. There was no numbers.
Correct. The reality is this: in the recreation field, we are in the business of providing a service. That's just the nature of the beast. We're not an enterprise. I mean, I could sit here and give you a million ways to possibly generate revenue, but we'll never break even in an aquatic center.
No, I'm not suggesting we should, but at least you have numbers now.
We do.
Is kind of my point.
No, absolutely. We've tried to maximize as much as we can. We have swim lessons year round.
Right.
CPR,
CPR.
you
You just
rentals,
finished
things
the
like
CPR
that.
thing recently.
And honestly, there's a lot of times that the pool's at full capacity, which is a great problem to have, because that means people are attending the aquatic facility and they're paying and they're enjoying it. This year we take a little bit of a revenue hit because we have the seniors there at the multi-purpose room, but at the end of the day, that's what we're there for. That's why that building was built, so that we have that multi-function in case we needed it for something like this.
I totally understand that you are that your department is totally for the betterment of the citizenry, but at least you have numbers now.
No, we try. I mean, we really try to garnish a little bit of revenue back because we have to at least try to meet that 18 to 22%, which we have been meeting it every year, which is important for us. But at the same time, we run into issues even at the rec center where we have people that want to use the facility all the time, whether it's judo tournaments, karate tournaments, and we have to turn them away because we do get complaints from the residents sometimes when we have too many things going on where they're like, hey, we can't play basketball. Hey, the gym's not open. Hey, the rec center's always rented out for an event. So we strategically kind of keep it where we have some rentals, and at the same time, then we allow for our residents and patrons use it as much as can. But we do run into that issue where we could probably rent that facility out every weekend for an event, whether it's basketball, judo, we've had archery, we've had fencing tournaments, we've had the roller derby. So, I mean, we could rent it out all the time, but then we just run into the problem where then our own kids won't be able to use it. So it's tricky. So we've turned some people down.
How's that thing that we talked about here 2 or 3 months ago about the umbrellas? Where now it's free to the residents?
It's free to the residents, yes. It's worked well.
That's not hurting us?
No, I
Good.
don't think it has.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
That's been fine. It's actually worked really good. We need some new umbrellas, but that's a different issue.
This is the 4,000 under leases and rentals. What is that cost, Omar?
That's the vacuum for the pool.
The rentals and leases? Is the
Yes.
vacuum for the pool?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a call. That's one of my questions. Last time you were here, you were supposed to look into maybe increasing the entrance to the aquatic center to make up for some of the loss on the umbrellas. Did you look at that, or?
We did look at it. I mean, is there an impact? Yes, I can't tell you that there isn't, but is it an impact where I feel, me personally, that we would have to raise the fees to recapture the impact? I mean, if you're asking me personally, I'd tell you no, because it just caused more. I think we get more of a negative feedback from raising the fees, and I don't think we garnish enough in return to make a difference where it's valuable, not only to us, but even you guys. We raise those fees up, they're going to come knocking on your doors, Why'd you guys raise the fees up? So we kind of did it, and I kind of showed it to William. We were like, for a couple $1,000s, it might not be worth it to us. Now, if we're looking at $25,000, that's a different thing, but we're looking at like $3-4 grand. But, I mean, it's something you guys want. I don't have a problem raising the fees. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, it's good to have $4,000 to just toss out.
Well, if you see it that way, that's fine. I have no problem with it. If you want me to do it, we'll raise it. I'll make a resolution.
I
We'll do
think
it.
it's really important for our community that our residents use our facilities. They feel that they're at their disposal 100% of the time. We're pretty isolated, with the airport south of us and the expressway and everything, and having the ability for our residents to have recreational facilities that are accessible and reasonably priced is extremely important in our community. And I know Omar and I have talked about this before with the rec center, since the new rec center, that you have the ability to rent it out all the time, but then our residents stop using it. It's not something, and right now, one of the things that I love is going to the rec center and seeing all the pickup games of young kids. It's become a hangout for our young people to just go there and play volleyball on Friday nights and pick up games of basketball and stuff. They hang out there now, and I think that's extremely important. And if it's rented out all the time, what we'll gain in the revenue, we'll lose in the ability to provide services and opportunities for our youths to be outdoors or, to do sports.
Yeah, I have another question. Omar, do you
quick.
foresee that what's going on with the water and sewer affecting the pool, the aquatic center in any way?
In reference to,
Well, I mean,
sorry.
they're tearing up all the.
Like, will they turn up the streets and stuff?
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's any impact.
You don't
there
think that's
at all.
going to have an impact then?
No, I don't think so.
Now, the other thing is that container that you have over there, you have enough funding to replace it? The one over by, the one we talked to about a few months ago,
Which one?
the container,
The one by Stafford?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't have the budget for that. I think it was 2,500 or something to buy one, something like that. But
But you told me it was in the.
the leak that's there wasn't too bad. We were able to move some of the equipment, and the stuff we have in there wouldn't be damaged with water. We moved that stuff out.
I'm just thinking maybe you should either replace it or do something on the roof so it doesn't leak. When I was there was a whole bunch of holes up top. That's just my opinion. $2,500? What's $2,500? If you're gonna get all your equipment inside, you have a lot of stuff in there. You have a lot of that white stuff, and if that gets wet, it'll just.
The
it
cow
just
fine.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm
How
not.
about repairing it?
That's what I'm saying. Repairing it or replacing it, but it's only $2,500.
We put a piece of plywood at the top.
There you go.
So we did.
Just make sure it doesn't get wet. And the other one that I'm sure Councilwoman Mitchell is going to talk about is this ice cream thing. I think it was wonderful. That was one day that I was there. Everybody was really working hard. I think it was a success, but I'm sure that Councilwoman can attest to this more. I was only able to attend one time, unfortunately, but the floor is yours.
That was all of us that we voted to provide it to the community. And it
Yeah,
was
but you were there all the time.
That was
the
your
last
thing,
few
so-
ones I wasn't because I
Right.
was out of town or at the conference and stuff, but
It was nice that the Girl Scouts helped
Yes.
out with that.
helped
The
wonderful.
Girl Scouts stepped
And
up.
Caitlin told me that there's about 150 people on the average days, and on the really busy days was even more than that. So I think that's just a wonderful thing that we provided as a council for the community. And thank you, Caitlin, and your staff for being there,
Yes.
and it was fun. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping somehow somebody will come up with an idea of something to do with that concession stand, somebody from the community. A pop-up ice cream store or something, because I see it, that concession stand, and it's so nice, and it faces the parking lot, and it just, we got to figure out some way to get some use out of it. Omar, I wanted to ask you one thing with the canopies on cabanas,
The
I guess.
cabanas.
How do we clean the cabana tops? Because I've noticed they're a little green with mold, and I don't know about awnings. I've heard you can't pressure clean them because,
So, since you asked, I'll give you the bearer of the bad news. We have to replace them
oh no.
at some point. We discussed potentially putting it in this year's budget. However, we decided that we could probably hold on another year because we have to do the floor, which is very important. So we're probably gonna have to consider replacing those.
Is that because of how they look with a little bit of the green algae, or
Well-
because they're getting worn?
Combination of both. It's basically bad design, them being white. You guys know that our roofs get extremely dirty here because I've heard it's because of the jet fuel. We've tried cleaning them. We even got a company to come out and clean them, and the minute they put the pressure cleaner to it, they ripped.
You're all right. You can't do that.
So we're in a position where we really can't clean them. So the only option we have is replace them. So I've even talked to William a couple of times, kind of like, just let him know, hey, eventually we're probably gonna have to consider replacing that. So we have some ideas that we're considering to even completely remove the whole cabana thing, where they're, instead of gonna be like shade canopies, which will probably be blue like the other one that we have. If you look closely at the blue one, you could see, if you stare at it, you could see that it's dirty, but it doesn't look to the eye
the
as
white
dirty
one.
because it's not white.
Navy or dark green, those
Yeah,
work
something like
great.
that. So, but yes, since you asked the question, we have to address it. Our strategic plan was to come at you guys next year with it.
So what's the life expectancy of these? 2?
Yeah, probably about 2 or 3, especially in white. Even the structures, we're looking at them. They're surface mounted, correct? Yeah, they're surface mounted, so they're loose a lot. So we're potentially thinking that if we put new ones in, we're probably gonna have to drill in, so that then the actual structures themselves will last longer. And if we have to change the canopies, we can do that. But the actual structure itself will be a little bit more, in the ground, a little bit more solid. The cabanas are popular. They do rent, but they're dirty. I'm not gonna deny that.
But
Yes.
they look great. They add a lot of class
Yeah,
to the
it looks
whole
great.
area.
It's just
Great.
them being white was,
I've seen your staff pressure clean the furniture, so that's pressure
Yeah.
cleanable.
yeah, we
Right.
pressure clean them, we wipe them down, we have a ton of like chemicals that we're constantly cleaning it up, but we try with the cabanas, and I remember Kaylin called me, she's like, we got a problem.
I think you need to go hunter green.
Yeah, the green or the royal blue looks nice. There's a couple options there that are nice, and they don't look as dirty.
How about fade away?
No, they don't. The awnings, when they're navy or green, the forest green, you can see
No,
them on
those
people's
things are
houses.
sun, like, the material on them now is specifically made for that, so they
So it
can
won't
sit in
fade
the
away.
sun, they won't fade, yeah. I mean, the ones we've had at Stafford Park and the ones we had at Prince have been here as long as I've been here, which is 10 years, and you could look at them and they'll look dirty, but you have to like stare at it and look for it. If you drive by it or you're just there playing, you won't really notice, and they don't really fade.
Omar,
They're
you've been
actually
here
really good.
10 years.
10 years,
Where has this time gone? Unbelievable.
10 years.
As far as that material that that you can put up there, you have all the. If you watch the show Ship Shape about boats and about the different materials to put on boats, on the T-top and everything, I can't remember the name of it, but that might be, besides the fact that you want to put something up there, maybe to look into that as far as where, because they give you a 10-year, 5-year warranty.
Okay.
That because it's built for boats, for the sun,
Correct.
and for the salt water.
It's for the weather.
Right, for the weather. So it might behoove you to. I don't know what it's going to cost. I'm just throwing an option out that not only the color, but maybe there might be a better material
Correct.
that would last, that can hold up against the sun and everything.
Yeah, one of the first things we're gonna do is address that it won't fade,
Yeah.
100%. That's because if
But
not, then
also-
you have it for 2 years, and if it fades, you're back to square one.
But the material I'm talking about could be pressure cleaned because they do
Right.
it on the boats.
Because it's okay. I see what you're saying.
You understand it's
Okay.
it's strong enough where you might be able to clean it.
I got you.
I'm just giving you something to think about.
for
And when
sure.
I watched this, the name is almost coming to my head, but if I watch the show again, I'll find out. It's right on the tip
Fishing
of my
show,
tongue.
marine show.
It's a show that
Yeah.
rebuilds boats,
Yeah,
and they have different materials that they
good thought.
use, and that's something that's what it's supposed for the weather to be exposed.
Sombrella.
Huh? Sombrella. That's it.
Is that what it is, Tammy?
Sombrella.
For the boat.
Omar,
She's a boater.
Omar, Sombrella.com.
Sombrella. That's the one.
Sombrella.
Sombrella. That's it. She knows
Look
it
up.
because she's a boater like me. Sombrella.
Oh, we'll look into it
Something
for
to
sure.
look at. They might even do it. I tried to get going back to the boat ramp. I tried to get one of the other shows to bring their kayaks and stuff to have an opening ceremony, but I couldn't make it happen. But they might even do it as a promotional thing. Any other questions on their budget? We got to go to the next one.
None, sir.
The next one is tennis, on page 14-18. The proposed tennis budget is $22,418, or 50% lower than 18-19. Decrease is due to the $20,000 for resurfacing of the 2 tennis courts being included in the 5-year capital notice discussed in the administration budget. That budget is on 14-8.
18, didn't you say?
18.
18.
14-18, sorry.
I don't know how he does that.
He does such a.
For this money, I have no idea, and that is such a favored thing, the tennis facility that we have here. He does it with, I don't know how.
We did some improvements for Manny.
Manny is,
Fabian.
And we did some
Manny Fabian, yeah.
improvements. We redid both bathrooms. Well, Public Works did. They did an amazing job. They were able to redo the pro shop. We put the new sign up in the front. We added some new signage for him. We changed out his picnic tables. We added some new benches. We painted some other benches he had, and then we're gonna re-landscape a little bit this year also for him, because the facilities, it's nice, and Manny does an outstanding job. So we went out there, we noticed it was looking a little bad, so Public Works did a great job of helping us out.
Yeah,
I gotta give
let me
Tom
ask
Nash
you,
and this guy's a lot of
On
credit.
this, on the resurfacing of the court, we did 3 last year.
Correct.
That's why it's reduced to just 2
Two.
this year.
That's correct.
When we have to do the 3 again?
Next year.
Oh, it's gonna be every other year? Okay. Okay, and what are we gonna do about the Cooper Hawks?
Oh, the Hawks?
You did such a great job that the Hawks are there. How's
Let
that
me tell
going?
you.
How's that going?
I haven't seen him in a while.
Can we
but for
take the
that-
barricades out of there?
I don't even. Well, yeah, we could. It's just,
We don't know if he's still there.
yeah. I mean, I was there the other day and I was looking for them and I didn't see them. I think we just have to identify when it's that mating season that they come back. But they're usually there
Spring.
year round. It's just the Hawks attack when it's mating
But it
season.
was, when, yeah.
So we got to be careful. But it's
Well-
funny because they're there. They're there all year. They just won't come down until
Well,
they
they're
have
protecting
babies.
their young,
Yeah.
that's why.
they're empty now. Mating
So,
season. Exactly.
but I had a resident ask me the other day when I was gonna take the barricade off his yard. He was nice though.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, is this barricade gonna stay here forever?" I go, "Maybe." He started laughing. But no, it's we could take some of them out.
I think you could, and maybe have just a
warning.
sign, a warning sign, my opinion.
That's fine.
That's-
And then we
I-
could just keep them like that, and then next year when it comes down to that season again, we'll put them back out to let people know, hey, this is their season.
Yeah.
Be ready to get.
There's another flock of those, the Cooper Hawks, as the mayor says, on Redbird.
Yeah.
Right on the point there in South Royal.
I see them. They-
North Royal, sorry.
You know, after you see something like that, it's surprising how many are in the city.
Yeah.
It really is. It's surprising, and kind of shows you there's a lot of rats in our city.
Let's-
Mayor, I have some questions on the tennis courts. Omar, I want to thank you and Manny for the tennis program, the summer camp program, and the after-school program, and and he just makes it so accessible. The court fees in Miami Springs are the best in the county. I tell everybody.
Absolutely.
They're beyond, below what other organizations pay. They just really encourage people to get out there and play, and he makes it so available. But I wanted to ask you about 2 things. One is the racquetball courts. The racquetball courts need, the back wall needs more than painting, and I know we kind of just patch it and paint it, but my understanding is we really need to eventually sandblast that, because every time the racquetballs hit the wall, the paint just comes off, and it's just not an optimal facility. Can we try to get an estimate for next year?
Sure.
I know it's going to be large, but it needs to be done. We've got great tennis courts, and we should have great racquetball facilities, and they're not.
No, they're honestly they're pretty embarrassing.
Yes.
You guys know I'm not gonna tell you.
No,
guys,
no, no, I
guys,
know, I
They're
know.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
We've gone in there several times, and the biggest problem we have now that it has so much
Paint.
paint on it that when you actually sandblast it, which we tried, it starts to crack it. Where it starts to chip it. So now the wall isn't smooth anymore. So then we run into the issue that if we sandblast it, we basically have to repatch all the walls again and repaint it. Which for the cost of it, what they've told me is you might as well just build new ones. Trick is this, where do we build them at?
Yeah.
So we've looked into the options and we've put Band-Aids on what we have. I will get you a quote on both options.
Something to
Absolutely.
look for in next year's budget, because
Absolutely.
there's no reason that, that when you go through our tennis facility and then you hit that,
I agree. No, we need something to be done. I can't disagree with that. That's 100%.
And then what about, I thought you were looking into putting like a shade canopy in between court, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yes. I think that's
Between
one of
3
our
and 4?
wish list items, right?
Oh,
think
is that
so.
on the wish list? Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Yes.
But I am glad, Maria, that you brought that up about the racquetball courts, because I had a resident like 2 weeks ago ask me about that. And I haven't had a chance to go over there and look at them. From the outside even, they look like
Oh, they're bad.
they need work. So, yeah.
No, they're bad.
And we have residents that play pretty regularly
Yes.
racquetball.
Yes,
You know, we
yes.
have
There's a
groups that are play
there's
just
a
as
group of
often as.
guys and girls that play periodically, actually,
Mhm.
and they're actually really nice because they understand how bad they are, but they just want to play, so they don't really complain too much. And then whenever they do say something, we go out there and do our best to help them out. But they understand, like they get that it's bad, but
But it's
we-
it's something like, you know, with any recreation, it's like a golf course. You know, yes, you might have a golf course, but golfers want pristine golf, and tennis courts the same thing, and racquetball courts. If not, you
Correct.
just don't get the people that are really avid about the sport playing it.
absolutely.
Thank you, Omar.
Omar, thanks for what you do for the city, sir.
Oh, thank you.
How's
Okay, the final division is on page 1422, parks maintenance. And, this budget is $10,634, or 3.7% lower than current year. Budget does include $14,500 for ball field renovation, laser grading and clay at Stafford and PV Dove, $20,000 to repair the soccer field at Stafford, which is being included in the 5-year, both of these are being included in a 5-year note as discussed in the administrative budget. So again, page 14-22, these are the guys that maintain our fields.
How'd you ever talk Joel into coming back? He does a great job out there, man. I see him out there all the time.
Let me tell you, Joe, I have great staff. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but Joe is one of those guys that's extremely underpaid. I don't know how he does it, honestly, because sometimes I give him some things that I'm like, Joe, we got to take care of this. And somehow I'll drive by the park and it's done, and I'm like, he's out there by himself sometimes. I'm
No,
like,
I
Joe,
see
you
him out there by
serious?
himself often.
Oh, yeah.
Often.
So he's an amazing employee. He never tells us no. There's been times I've actually told him, you know, Joe, you got to take it easy. You know, there's life out there. It's not, you know, it's not work 50 hours a week, you know.
And
you
he's
gotta-
already retired from the city, and he came
Correct.
back part, you know, whatever he is in the
No,
capacity.
he's an
now.
amazing employee. I
Yeah,
mean, if I
he's a
could
great guy.
try to replica him at some point,
Well,
we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to clone. Yeah.
And he was a great tennis pro.
it's his,
Tennis program.
it's his testimony to what he likes about doing this city. It's like a guy that works in the hospital to help people, you know, just something he likes to do. He gets gratification from it.
He's never lost a ping pong game at the rec center, though.
Really?
Well,
I'll have to play him.
he hasn't played anybody Chinese or Japanese yet, huh?
He can play. He can play ping pong and tennis. I swear to God, no one's ever beat him. I think the only one that was close to beat him was Albert, right? Yeah. Albert almost beat him once, but no one's ever beat him. at
I'm gonna
ping
have
pong or
to-
I'm gonna have
tennis.
to stop by.
Any
Oh.
other questions?
Billy, I'll have to make note of that.
Any other questions on the budget? Okay, thank you, Omar, staff.
Guys,
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Caitlin.
Keep up the good work. Please.
All right, let's go to section 9, police. Their budget is on page 9-7, but let me just read some of the highlights on page 9-6. The fiscal year 1920 budget is $177,843, or a 2.5% increase from the current year. The following are some key items included in the proposed budget. Number one, increase of 3% pay raise in accordance to the FOP contract, increase of 6% in health insurance costs, and a reduction in police retirement contributions from 12.5% to 10.5%. Number two, the fiscal year 1920 budget includes an additional police officer, increasing our uniform staff from 44 to 45. The fiscal year 1920 budget will be requiring a 5-year note for equipment for a total cost of $154,719. The budget impact of this for fiscal year 1920 is $33,523. Equipment includes $9,347 for the GPS tracking system for police vehicles, $17,000 for 7 laptop computers for police vehicles, $12,000 for new and upgraded Fortis archiving system for records, $30,000 for Superior and FTO module software, $9,500 for 4 vehicle radars, $9,272 for 4 tasers, $18,000 for 15 new AED machines for police fleet, $15,000 for 1 police canine to replace the retiring canine, and $34,000 for extended warranties on 14 new vehicles. The total budget for this year is $7,183,679, and it's on page 9-7.
I have one question
Sir.
about the GPS
Yes.
and the laptops for the vehicles. Why wouldn't that be included when you're renting the new vehicles? Why wouldn't that be included inside of the vehicle instead of us, in other words, a captured situation to be included in the vehicle? Maybe next time around or something?
I'm not aware that vehicles have that system. The GPS system we're obtaining comes with is part of the software that we're going to, and it's included in that software so that we can also view the vehicles from dispatch, not only for officer safety, but also for, we get a call and which officer is the closest, and we dispatch that.
So in other words,
It's not
has
part
to-
of the vehicle, in
it
other
has
words.
to correlate with our software, I guess, then.
The one we're going
Is
with.
it something-
There's different systems out there, but this is the one that we found that we looked at. AT&T has one, and to be honest with you, it was a lot more expensive. And this is already like a supplement to the software that we're
I
going
got
to.
you. I was just thinking that the vehicle would have them 2 items in the vehicle when you buy, because we're renting them now, right?
Leasing them.
Leasing them. So,
Yeah, they're lease to own.
wait, the police vehicles are now, we lease them, right? We don't,
Lease to
oh,
own.
lease
At
to
the end
own.
of the lease, they'll be ours.
okay, I got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor,
I just thought that would be included, you know?
Mayor, I
Through,
have a
through the chair, sorry,
no, go ahead.
I note that there was 19,054 citations issued for the red light camera program. How much money does that relate to? I know the answer to that. I'd like you to make it publicly, though.
It's approximately $500,000.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, I'm not sure whether you guys are better at data or you just do a lot, but by far, the police department has listed more accomplishment than any other department. I mean, this page, that's like 3 pages long of things that you've done. I'm not sure if it's because you guys do a lot or it's just that you're better at data
Do a lot,
keeping.
but we also keep records of what we do. Good records. That's one thing we do well.
No, that's one of the first time, when I look over this, I look at the accomplishments and before I read anything else. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, this GPS, I thought we were just going to see where they're at. So you're adding another feature which makes it even better, correct? Can you go over that?
It's part of the software. It's an addition to the software, but it's the same firm, the same company. Medley has it. I went to see it, and I was very impressed with it. It will require, and already it's being put in dispatch, an additional screen that the dispatchers will see where the officers are. And so for officer safety, we can immediately locate the vehicle. But again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, when we are dispatching an officer to the call, we can see which officer is closest to the call. So we'll dispatch that officer, makes it more efficient, quicker response.
And so when you say you see where the officers are, is this just a little, like
It's
a
an
blip?
icon. It's
An icon on a map, correct?
Correct.
It's nothing.
Shows them moving, or if they're stopped somewhere.
Just like when I go fishing, you got where your boat is, and it tells you where you're at and where the next thing is.
Where the fish are.
You ever seen
Yeah.
a GPS?
Of course.
Well,
I'm just
that's
clarifying.
Oh, okay.
Clarify.
I'm just clarifying, Mayor. I mean, I think making sure that our officers get to go home every night is crucial. Safety is
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about the increase in the education and training piece. What comprises that? I mean,
Oh.
I think it's important, but just,
A couple of things. Our officers this last year have been taking advantage of the tuition reimbursement. So we've decided to look at that as far as increasing a little bit. But I've also put some a system in place so we can control it a little bit. We don't want to go over that amount. Plus, we also are doing a sergeant's examination, which is the assessment center we've done in the past with Miami-Dade College North,
Okay.
and that's about $8,000 in and of itself. We have a sergeant's vacancy, and we just want to be prepared to fill that as quickly as possible.
No, I
Chief,
think-
is that per position?
I'm sorry?
8,000, you said?
No, it's for the total
the
exam.
total.
Total.
Yes. And it's two parts of the exam. There's a written component, and then there's the assessment center. And that's what most departments do, assessment center. As a matter of fact, Miami-Dade College North Campus Assessment Center, people come from all over the country to do the assessments there for law enforcement.
They have a great reputation.
Yes.
And I think that this is very important that we're giving them that opportunity because you also have a lot of like new and younger officers.
Absolutely.
And so kudos to you recognizing.
And I
that.
do not like to have officers unsupervised.
Of course.
As a matter of fact, with the new promotions, we've even looked at the lieutenant's hours. So starting next week, there'll be a lieutenant on shift about 90% of the time,
That's great.
24 hours a day.
Thank you.
So now you have a command level officer there to be able to assess situations and monitor and make sure everything is being done.
Make these decisions too.
Correct, correct.
So where it's before the shift supervisor made that call.
And when that shift supervisor was off, sometimes all you had was an officer in charge, a
The
senior
second, yeah.
officer. So now we'll have a lieutenant most of the time, at least 90% of the time.
Yeah, one last question I forgot to ask. How are we paying for this GPS? Through the police trust fund or?
No, that's regular budget.
We can't use the police trust fund?
Can, but
I mean, whatever you think is best, but I just thought,
The seizures haven't been as big as they have been in the past, so I'd like to hold that money there for, God forbid, an emergency or something else that we really, really need, some new equipment or new technology, so.
We got a new vehicle coming up.
what do
Yeah.
you have now, 25,000, correct?
I'm sorry?
How much do you have, about
When
20?
we get to the LEPF budget next,
Is
you'll
there-
see one of the things that it's included in the
Is a dare
budget
vehicle, right.
Okay.
is a dare vehicle,
Right.
so.
Mayor, if I may. Chief, the police department civilians, the $64,000 in increase, is that a new position? Under police department civilians?
Third item.
I know that the one above it is the new officer, I'm guessing, part of that, but what is that 64,000?
We didn't add any positions.
No, we didn't add any civilians positions.
So is that just the COA?
Well, we do have two people that were getting merit increases, but I don't, let me look at the salary.
So.
Well, she's asking why it's at
why
64.
Yeah, where is,
exactly.
what is that 64?
It's a 64.93 increase.
Police department,
Well, if you want, you can get back to us
Yes.
on that,
Yeah,
you know,
let's
to
look.
take
Look
your
at it,
time
get
and
back
look
to
at it and see, okay? Right
Ring a
here,
bell right
on
now.
this page, sorry, 9-7, item number 3. And then I wanted,
Oh, that's right, that's right.
what is that?
The city manager just reminded me. Our IT specialist, Mark Pierre, that's his salary.
Oh, okay.
Prior years, he used to be,
IT, and he's transferred over directly to us now, because he's handling us
but wasn't he in the budget last year, in your budget?
in IT.
Oh, he was still in
Oh,
IT,
okay,
but
so
he was
he was
working
switched
for
over.
you.
Correct.
Okay,
Now it's
And now he's specifically working for us and under our budget.
okay.
Thank you. Forgot about it. Right. He also got a little bit of an increase, because this transition that we're going to the
I got you.
Central Square software is just,
Gave us the answer.
you know,
Okay.
quite a lot of work.
And then I wanted to ask you about under repairs and maintenance, which is right under liability insurance.
Yes.
Because I see above liability insurance, we have fleet maintenance, so that's for vehicles. The repairs and maintenance, is that for like radios? What is
A
repairs?
little bit of everything, as far as, we still have a part of the fleet that is not under warranty,
Uh-huh.
so that would be covering some of those vehicles too.
Okay, so this isn't for radios and other things, it's still under fleet,
No
you're saying?
radios, no.
I didn't know if that was under other equipment.
Look on page 9-10.
Uh-huh.
Under repairs and maintenance, Leah has it broken down as to,
Okay,
what that is.
so radio
Radio
Oh,
repairs
here's-
and maintenance,
and taser repair and maintenance. Okay. And,
Maybe that would be state general maintenance instead of fleet.
or equipment maintenance,
No, it's repairs and maintenance.
right.
Well, you said fleet maintenance.
No, they have fleet maintenance above it, that's why I was
I
asking
thought
what
that's what you
repairs.
asked was.
No, they have fleet maintenance above, so
repairs and maintenance is other equipment.
Gotcha.
that
that's
they-
what I was asking what that was. Okay, so then, operating supplies, that's taser. So I guess the repairs and maintenance is for, the operating supplies is buying tasers and laptop cradles and stuff, okay, and the other one's
The
repairing those
cartridges,
things.
right?
It's replacement of the cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
We have a larger fleet, and each car is going to have, each officer's gonna have his laptop as well as a printer in the car, so that we can print reports right there on the scene, or if we need to, once the software's up and running, a traffic ticket won't be handwritten, just swipe the driver's license, it'll print it right out, so that's an increase there of that. Each car will have everything they need to run their reports and do tickets and accident reports and so on right there on the spot.
Okay.
That's why you need IT people.
Yeah.
And the increase in uniforms? Well, that was from the previous, okay, that's fine. It's not that much. All right, thank you.
Chief, I have one last question. Your overtime is over $100,000. I know what you're gonna say, but I just wanna confirm it. I mean, wouldn't it be better to hire a new police officer?
Well, we're in the process of doing that. This new budget will give us an additional body. We have 4 individuals that we're interviewing day after tomorrow. We also have one officer that she is out on light duty due to the fact that she's expecting. We have another officer just went out on light duty for an injury in the car accident. We have a sergeant that just broke his ankle last week, compound fracture, but he didn't do it working, but he's out. He had to have surgery. So unfortunately, we've had to, fill the slots with
Overtime.
And I'm not gonna hire somebody just to fill a position. I'm gonna hire the best person
Right.
that we can get. I don't wanna have to worry about dealing with issues, disciplinary or God forbid other issues. So we're gonna take our time, we're not gonna lower our standards, and we're gonna hire the best people that we can get.
That's still the $100,000 is budgeted, right?
I'm
For
sorry?
that. 100,000 is budgeted for overtime.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you're gonna use
110
the
or 120? 120, actually.
120,
120,
okay.
actually.
That does,
Yeah, we're already, right.
yeah, but maybe next year with the new officer, that might reduce
Hopefully.
it. But in reality, with all the different things, that's how much an officer costs anyway.
Give or take.
Right.
Give or
Plus, we
take,
have,
exactly.
we have Chris Bond, who'll be graduating from the academy, if not next week, I believe. Or this week? Next month.
Yeah.
So, and due to the fact of his experience here at the city, as a PSA, I expect him to, be a quick turnaround. Will he be on his own? He'll count his manpower.
Plus, he has a guardian angel, his father.
He has at-home training, right?
We have a run tomorrow morning with his class, by the way.
I have
3-mile run.
one more question, Chief. Not so much with the budget, but we have police on bicycles still? What is that?
We have a police bicycle unit, but again, we're a small department, so it's not something that I can staff every day. We did it this morning, and usually we do it during the first few days of the school year, where we put them out at the schools riding around, extra presence, assist with traffic, and whenever we have like special events, the 4th of July parade, they're out there. And my plan, and we've done it in the past, but because of staffing issues, we haven't been able to do it, is where we'll, excuse me, we'll get them together once every other week or so from all the different shifts, and we ride out. We haven't been able to do it consistently, again, because of staffing. But yes, we do have a bicycle unit.
And these are normally not motormen, but
Motorcycle
duty
or
officers.
Just,
No, motorcycles is separate. This is bicycles. And we have them, I believe there's 2 per shift. And what we do is when we look at staffing, okay, as an example, next Wednesday we're good on staffing on the different shifts. Let's bring all these bicycle units from the different shifts, and we'll work 8 to 3 or whatever, and ride around the city.
But Armando, these guys are sworn officers, right?
Yes, correct. They are sworn police officers, yes.
where do we store the bicycles?
We store them at community policing.
Oh, okay, through the back?
There's a back room there, yes.
Okay.
Maria wants to know.
One
where
other
they're-
question.
Huh? Were they wearing their uniforms? I mean, what do you?
No, I'm just curious because
Man.
sometimes we see them and
Gee whiz.
sometimes we don't. So I wasn't sure if they were temporary, that we hire as overtime or something,
No,
or they're
no, no, no,
actually
no.
our police
There
officers.
are police officers.
Chief, lock him up.
I have one more question regarding the red light camera that, thank you, Councilman Best, for bringing up. I didn't know we get that much revenue out of is it 3 red lights that we have?
We have
Three red
five.
3 red
Five.
light
We have
cameras?
5.
We have 5. This year, our revenues are probably going to be over 600,000 in red light cameras. Next year, I'm only budgeting 500,000 because we have 2
Two that have been
lights
down.
that are, ever since I started working on 36th Street, the water and sewer people, they've had to disconnect 2 of our lights.
Okay,
So right now, we're only working with 3 lights.
okay.
So that's why I'm lowering the estimate for next year.
Plus,
And that
not
was
only
at
that-
the conference this week. I ran into the person who handles our contract, and he said
Orlando.
we have
Orlando.
3.
Yeah, he was there.
But we
Be up
have
and
5,
running.
but only
They
3 are
changed the
running.
name of the company. Yeah.
But
Plus,
that
they're
came up
also-
as to why we don't have a red light. I'm sure there's a good reason over here on Hook Square where we always get the complaints. And I was asking him if there was a reason. He said maybe we don't have the setup, just something, if we can look into it.
You're talking
Where
about
we
where they
get-
make the left onto
Yeah,
like
where
go
we
out?
get all the complaints that, the police aren't there and, right, turning off Curtis onto the Circle and then Hook Square. Is that
I don't know
something
why
we
it
can
wasn't
look
set up
into?
there. Those we can look at
Okay,
that
he
in the
wasn't,
future.
he knew this area and he said, I don't know why you don't have one there.
Could look
So
at it.
perhaps we could look in that in the
One thing I
future.
was going to say that those 2 cameras that are not operating, we're not being charged for them either.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks for a great job.
Chief.
One more for the chief is on Section 10, the Law Enforcement Trust Fund budget. Again, this is not part of the general fund, but this budget is $169,692, and budget includes $39,000 for the purchase of 1 police dare vehicle for next year. And this budget is broken down into 3 areas. You'll see on 10-2, 10-4, and then on 10-7, the criminal justice training budget. 10-4 is the one for the CPO office, and 10-2 is for investigation. Right?
What do you think's gonna happen if marijuana is legalized completely, where there won't be any law enforcement to have to go ahead and, if it's gonna be hurt, it's gonna hurt
The
this.
crime rate will go down.
It's gonna hurt this, won't it?
well, I can tell you that
This is from drugs, right? Heavy drugs.
yeah, the law enforcement trust funds are for seizures of
Yeah, that,
although in other parts of the country where they have legalized it, what I've been reading is that the black market on marijuana is still very high.
okay, so
So-
that's a way,
But what's interesting is that the states can legalize it, but it's still
it's still a
a
federal
federal
offense. Yeah.
violation. So, a boat bringing in loads of marijuana, they're still gonna get stopped and
I
they're
got
still
you.
gonna get arrested and charged
Unless
federally.
federally they legalize it.
It's a Class 1 narcotic,
Correct,
federally.
correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Chief, go home. We're,
Yeah, right?
you did good, Chief.
Thank you.
You do a good job. It's a good.
As a side note, again,
department.
thanks to all of you and Mr. Alonso for the support you give our organization.
September 24th, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's the St. Michael's Mass, feast of patron saint of police officers. So,
And we're going to the Trump,
dinners, that's Thursday?
That's the 22nd.
Thursday night, yes.
that's this Thursday?
When is it?
Thursday night,
This Thursday?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this week?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I RSVP,
We sent
you're
you,
the only
yeah.
one that asked me to RSVP for them, so.
I RSP. Yeah,
Go ahead.
RSP,
yeah, you,
For us too.
what's wrong with you? You don't remember RSPing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That he hosted once every so many months.
Chief, we'll see you there.
Thank you very much.
Are you all going?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
The Thursday night,
Support
Chief?
our police.
Can, when you
I
guys
hope to
get
have,
there, can you
I hope-
set schedule a
At Trump
visit
Doral?
for me
Yeah.
to go to that?
I will not be in attendance.
I
I'm
wanna
sorry.
see how that, to many, Chief,
hey, I
wanna
hope
see
to
how
have the
that
different
works.
dinner, though.
Did
After
they
I
have
hope
what?
to have a
3:30,
different
please.
dinner than that chicken.
Is Grace coming to that?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, there you go.
All right, we go on to the
Good night, thank you.
LETF
Thank you.
fund.
No, we did that.
We just
That's
did that
the
one.
Law Enforcement Trust Fund.
Yeah.
The LTD fund?
The last one we have is debt service,
Debt service.
page 18-2 and
18-2?
18-2, again, that's, the fund set up to pay, all the city's, leases and notes and all that.
Yep.
The proposed budget is 28,772, or 2% lower than current year. Budget includes 132,500 first-year debt service payment on the new, senior center loan, and includes 119,000 for the new lease for, police, public works, parks and recreation equipment, and renovations of
Okay.
William, are we always looking to keep that number down? Because that's a big number.
this increases by 5 million with the senior center.
I understand, but we can also be looking at, interest rates are low. Are we always looking at how we can refinance and all
Well,
those
he-
things? Right, I'm not talking about that one, but there are other ones
And
here.
the other one we have, the biggest one we have is the community center.
I think if you recall, Councilman Petrolanda, over the years, he's always bundled stuff.
That's what I'm saying,
and
that's what
reduced
I'm
and
asking.
But I think
Yeah.
it's too early going in for him to do that at this point because of the senior center.
No, this, you got a great rate for this one.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, older loans maybe that they could be looked at, because this is, our debt service is a big
don't have that
number.
many
It's a
older-
big
Debt
chunk of-
service is only about 1% of the budget.
Yeah, but it's $1 million.
Yeah, but when you look
Total.
at the big picture, it's 1%.
Well, I guess $1 million
Right,
is
one.
not a big deal anymore.
It's about 1%?
No, it's all,
Of the general fund budget,
Yeah.
it's really close to the 10%.
Oh,
Thank you.
10%.
oh,
Thank you.
All right, now, we have, as far as the television, for television, her proposal, as she stated, because Eric and I talked about this a little bit when we left the meeting the last time. I think we forgot what we discussed before about training and everything, that it would behoove us to go with the situation of the 9,000. So do we agree with that? Because last time we talked, we were gonna look into it.
What
But
was
now
the
that it's
outcome?
been reduced from the 15 to 9,000, I think that should be a moot point. I think we could go with that.
I agree with
Do
you.
you agree?
Yeah.
You agree?
Yes.
Okay, so that's,
Look at the, but did she come up with a number?
well, because if you remember back then, I don't remember, my memory serves me that it ended up being with training and equipment and everything, with what she has right now, it's gonna come up to be about the same amount of money. But we have a professional that's gonna film the meeting, so in my mind, it doesn't make
It
any
doesn't
sense.
merit that,
to-
right.
Right, that's a good word. You're educated, so it doesn't merit that. So I think that we all, I don't know if you'd agree, but I got agreement
But
that we're
I-
gonna go with that proposal.
I agree with you in the sense that we should be professionally done and all those things that you just said, but I haven't heard the number from her yet. I know the 9,000, but she was supposed to come up
Alright.
with figures.
I
If it's
get-
about the same amount, obviously, I'll agree with you
I
100%.
I'm not, I don't wanna do I need to make a vote on this? Do you need to make a vote,
You could,
so we could kill the issue?
Consensus at this point at a
you could ask
workshop?
for a consensus, Mayor, I think.
Well, we have consensus, it's 4.
Right.
And but I'm looking at, I don't wanna do any more work on it. I think that I don't wanna put her through I
don't-
wanna,
I don't think we need to.
okay, so do I have consensus not to go work for
Let me just
No.
ask, we're talking about for this next meeting, that this is when?
this year's meeting?
Ongoing.
Like for
Yeah.
this year, starting in October,
Right.
right? So we have 1 month to look into it.
But if it just went down like 6,000, it's not gonna be,
I had quoted previously,
Like
$5,000 for equipment, but then I would have to, compensate the person, which would be an employee, overtime or comp time, however they choose, but, it came out to pretty much the same.
Same
of
price.
The
Well, if
9,000,
it's-
so.
If it's the same, obviously, no.
All right, so that we can make a decision, okay, since we saved this money that's within the budget.
Yep.
We've saved, what, 12,000 before we started this meeting, William?
Yes,
Right?
sir. That's
So
exactly
then we
right.
can get out of that 12, and we're not gonna raise the millage. So out of that 12, let's put that, for Eric Ritchie's project, let's fund that with that money.
Eric Ritchie's?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes,
agree?
I'm all
Yes.
for that.
all right,
Yes.
all right, and we still are gonna save about $5,000
Right out.
overall, okay? So we have that.
So far.
That's it, yeah. But I don't know if we're gonna have any other meetings on the budget.
Got a council meeting a week from tonight, sir.
Yeah, but it's not on the budget.
Oh,
Don't we
but
have another budget meeting?
it's
or-
still.
The time we'll discuss the
It's a
budget
regular
again is the
council
first and second reading, am I right?
Yeah.
Today,
Today's,
now, we have the first reading, September. We have 2 more public hearings.
Right.
Right.
Where you can make some
Changes.
additional changes.
What are the dates in September that we have meetings?
September 9th.
But what I'm trying to say
and
is,
23rd.
right now,
Okay.
in my mind, it's finalized.
What about the budget, the wish items,
The wish items,
wish list items?
well, the wish list items, we wanna discuss them now, or what?
I thought we discussed that in another meeting, right?
The wish
how
list
does-
items.
How does that work?
Yeah,
Actually, we,
that's what I'm trying to get these people to think about, let's get this finished.
all right,
Alright.
all right, hold on. All right, then,
Alright.
through the chair, could I have the floor, sir?
No.
I'd like us to seriously consider looking for a new lobbyist. I do not think that for the money we spend, particularly with the plus that we've seen over the last few years, that these people have fulfilled much for us that wouldn't have automatically happened without their consent. Let's step up to the pump and start dealing with this as a city council and do our jobs rather than hiring somebody who's given us lip service. And I'll leave it with you.
Okay. I can
That's
accept that.
$45,000.
I can accept that.
Yes, sir.
I can ac-
$45,000 plus
I
plus.
can accept the fact that, in a lot of ways, we make our own decisions without anybody's help.
We can call Rebecca Sosa, we can
Yeah.
call Avia, we can call, the senator, we can call all of these people, the 5 of us. Why do we need somebody to run interference?
Is it 45 or is it a little more? than
It's
40?
45, and then there's plus the, what is it, Willie? The insurance or legal or something is attached to it.
No, for them, it's 45,000 for the city lobbyists.
Clean.
That's it.
Is there an additional charge for the annexation
No.
that they're helping us with?
No, it's not
Okay.
on there, but
It's
I
just-
thought it was, I thought I saw something else on there in the book here, on that.
Well, that was for Dan's firm, for the legal costs related to the annexation lawsuit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
But, I mean, a few years back, I brought that up, and I got no support for it at all. But I really think that we have some decent people sitting on this council that have minds, and we
But
can
let-
think for ourselves. We know how to conduct business. We know how to talk to politicians.
I would like to say to Councilman Best's point, I think this year it was pretty disappointing. We really didn't get anything other than,
Lip
and
service.
while I'm grateful for whatever we get from the state, it doesn't seem like we even got what we expected.
Well, I
That's fine.
will say this, okay? But let's put it a better way. I believe our representatives up there, Manny and Brian,
Mhm.
did the job
I agree.
with the manager and the meetings that we had. I think they did the job. I don't know if the lobbyist company did anything about it.
That's what my point, sir.
Okay, so I'm supporting your point there, Councilman.
I know that, sir.
Okay, number two, remember, when you say them kind of things, and I'm not criticizing, I just want you to think about it. In years past, we didn't get everything that we wanted, but in years past, we got nothing. This was, in my opinion, a bumper year for Miami Springs to get the 800,000 from the state for the senior center.
I thought that would have happened anyway.
No, that's my point, but I'm making 2 points here.
Okay.
One, I think we did it by ourselves with
Yeah.
our representatives. And two, I don't want to diminish the fact that we didn't get everything we wanted, but if
Right.
you go know the history of getting money from the state, it's like pulling three tooths
Yeah.
in your left arm.
Yeah.
So we've done, this was pretty good. And next year, with the fact that Brian is so committed to us with the bed tax money,
No, that's,
so I don't know, I don't want to bite ourselves by making any negative statements of what we got from the state, okay?
got you covered.
I'd just like you
I'm
to
not-
think
I'm not
before
suggesting-
we say that. No, I'm talking, so now, as far as the $45,000, hey, if council wants to go ahead and take that off, let's make a decision here.
Could we
Because
get-
if you take the 45,000 off, fine, or are we cutting our nose in spite of our face, maybe? You gotta weigh it. I know your position.
I've thought about it.
I accept your position. Don't
guess-
get me, but I'm always thoughtful
Sure.
of what the ramifications might be.
Right.
So,
Mayor,
If I may, I think what Councilman Best wants to do is do an RFP for a different
Yes.
lobbyist.
I would
but
like,
keep-
I
keep
would- I
the
would like to, I would like
45,000.
to, through the chair, I would like to ask William to be on the search.
right.
all right, so let's go ahead and,
But we keep the funding in the
you
budget
wanna
right
keep
now.
the 45 in the budget? Or you just wanna wait
We can always move it over.
because if you don't keep it in the budget and you hire another firm, you're out of the budget.
I'd like to see us try it 1 year without it.
All right.
Totally without a lobbyist?
Yep.
Mayor, I'd like to add something, because when I was up there, I went to a workshop that was about what to expect from a lobbyist.
Yes.
Okay, I attended that one.
Yep.
And one of the things they said is for the smaller municipalities, one thing to keep in mind is if you have a specific issue, maybe you should hire a lobbyist for that particular issue.
Okay. But you're still gonna have to, no matter how you look at it, you're gonna have to budget money in
But
it
not
then.
45,000.
Okay.
Maybe
But,
half
but how
of it.
much though? How much is how much?
I know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
How long have we've been working with Becker and Polya-Koff?
Since I've been on city council.
I've been here, yeah.
Me too.
Not
So
me.
is there something, I just had a
And remember,
curiosity.
My first time
they
as mayor.
started annexation with us back in
Right.
2003,
Yeah, they start-
2000.
So is there something in particular that has you raise the concern now?
Because I think
Just-
his point is that, I'll give you an example.
What are they doing for us?
All the money that we raised for the.
No, I want to know in particular, what haven't they done that brings it to the,
Well, we haven't.
Well, I
got-
certainly think that, to answer your question, Councilwoman, certainly the bed tax issue, which the
Right.
mayor and Councilwoman Mitchell have been all over, which I fully support.
right?
And because of the MDX thing, we were just told like flat out, oh no, he has other things on his agenda right now, so it's taking the back burner. Well, wait a
I
minute.
see, yeah, no, I hear you.
That's just one. I could
I
give you
can
three
give
more.
another example.
No,
I'd
I
give
hear
you
you,
three
and that
more.
makes
Annexation.
sense, yes.
I can give you another example.
And the annexation?
Annexation
I think
is
it's to the point where the agency is complacent in terms of how they support us. I think they just think that Miami Springs 45 grand.
No, now I understand the point you're making.
We dropped it,
Definitely, okay.
We dropped it. It was 55. We dropped it to 45.
It
and
used to
they-
be 25.
No, I think it was 55.
30. Sorry.
Yeah, it was more.
And
they
it was
dropped
more.
it to 45.
It was
I'm
more
going,
than.
I'm going way back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, give you an example. The money that was raised from funds we got money from Lincoln Diaz-Villard.
Mhm.
We got money from Rebecca
Yep.
Sosa. And there was some funding we got
Yeah,
somewhere
but that
else.
had nothing to do with them.
We got $4 million for the community center.
Right.
I didn't have a lobbyist at the time when I
No.
was mayor.
No.
I worked on it myself.
I know that. So why can't we do that again?
Well, we could.
I know that. That's my point.
I think it I think it behooves us and our residents to look around and see what else is there. We have some, I would like to keep the money in the budget because I'm not sure if we've had a lobbyist all this time. I'd like a little more of William perhaps thinking about it a little more of what we might lose if we don't have a lobbyist. I'm not sure that we've touched on everything right now because we're just thinking about it tonight. So I'd like a little more information as to what.
All right, I'll give you I'll ask, you ask questions. So I'm going to ask you a question. You sat up here for 2 years and a half. What has that lobbyist firm produced for Miami Springs in your time?
Councilman Best.
I'm asking you.
No, Councilman Best and Councilman Petrolanda know that when we were up there in the city manager, when we were up there in Tallahassee this last, what was it, in February or whatever, I wanted to make meetings on our own because we didn't have enough meetings set up with the legislators.
You're not answering my question.
No,
What?
but
That's what I'm saying is that I felt
did
like they weren't even setting up. We didn't have enough meetings set up to.
So you didn't get representation that you thought you should have got?
No, she's
I'm
right.
asking her.
I know, she's right, though.
Okay, right? What I'm trying to say is, for you to answer this question, what has the lobbyist firm produced for you sitting up here in City Council 2.5 years? What have they produced for you for Miami Springs? Anything?
No, just a connection at times when we go up for days is that connection and a recap of what's happening with annexation. That's why I'd like to find out if there's something else that we're losing.
No.
Just say nothing.
I'm going to
I
say.
think he's looking for nothing.
But,
or
I'm
very little.
asking William if.
No, I'm asking you the question. I'm going to ask the
No, Mayor, you can answer
councilwoman
that.
here.
Answer
What
it.
has you sitting here 2.5 years? What has the firm produced in your mind for our city on behalf of Miami Springs?
I can't say that they have, and in the beginning, I questioned when they first came up that I wanted a clear report on what it is for $45,000 they were doing, and they rambled off a summary of what they had done during that period of time, and after that, I have never heard anything else. So,
Okay.
There you go.
So
I
that's
can't-
the answer.
yeah.
I can say to you, for instance, about the bed tax money. Before you were here and before when I was approaching this, I went to the firm to try to get me a meeting maybe it's my fault. I should have tried to get a meeting on my own with
Not necessarily.
the mayor, but
You could have.
I never got a meeting with the county
Well,
mayor through this company, through this firm. I've always been promised.
You probably could have got
Never
it
have.
easier yourself.
I'm going to tell you right now, what I like right now, and I don't know if 45,000 needs to be put in the budget
I
for it,
don't either.
but I like Councilman Petrolonga's idea of hiring a lobbyist for
A specific item.
for a specific item.
Specificity,
And,
yes.
and somehow the contract should state how, the contract should state that if we hired the lobbyist for a specific, how much it would be, how much time he would spend on it, and so on. And I think that's the approach that I think that's the approach that we should look for. I think that we could reduce the money down to 30.
Think less.
I'm just throwing a number out.
I know you are. I know-
Okay,
I
you're
know.
less?
Yeah.
If I'm looking, that's I need to see what she says.
Yeah, of
Well, what
course,
I'm hearing is that, and I agree,
what
I
I'm-
agree, we need to provide structure to whoever it's going to be, whether it's that company or another, to say for every piece that they're going to represent us on to do lobbying, that we expect X amount of meetings, whatever it is, structure in terms of what we expect from them.
Okay, now, that's what I said, and you agree
Yes.
with me. All right.
I do
So
agree.
what I'm going to go this way now is, no matter what, if we want to do it, no matter what, we still have to make a decision of how much money we want to put in the budget, because we still have to fund it. We don't want to have a budget and go outside the budget to pay for this.
Well, we can fund it at a figure, and if we don't use that money, then
No, just right. I agree.
Yeah,
So
to keep
what-
a placeholder there.
Yes,
Yeah, I
right,
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking to you, do we need a little more time to understand?
I think we need.
I think what we need now is for you to find out what
out there.
what a lobbyist would charge for a
Right.
6 months or 3 months or whatever the case may be, what kind of charge it's going to be.
As
And then we
required.
got to decide on what issues we would want a lobbyist for. If there's 3 this year, 2 this year,
Well, certainly,
Right.
you understand?
certainly the bed
And then
tax for
we can
one.
go ahead and set what we want to put in the budget.
I think
Agreed.
going forward,
Yes.
next year, the 3 issues we're probably gonna have is the bed tax.
Yep.
our legislative request for funding, like we did this
Yep,
year,
yep.
money for the,
Mhm.
and the third one is annexation.
Yeah, but
And
that's.
that's why I wanted to talk to Dan, and maybe we can have some time
Yeah, I want to
for
talk
the
to
next
Danny on this
meeting.
further too.
Dan's gonna be here. I wanna talk, because Fuentes has been representing us on annexation since day one. What's gonna happen if we all of a sudden remove them?
Nothing.
Nothing, they haven't done much.
Will the new lobbyists then take over
Look,
the
William,
annexation
look,
issue?
and it's my opinion.
Just plug somebody else in,
Look,
that's all.
to all of you, it's my opinion, since 2003,
Mhm.
annexation, it's my opinion a lobbyist isn't going to do a damn thing for us.
Agree.
I would spend money on something else for lobbyists to do. It's a matter if the county has the intestinal fortitude
Mhm.
to make a decision. No matter what the lobbyist says, he can poll them people, he can do this, but there's no uh, um, he has no authority or no way to take a commissioner and make them change their mind. Period. You got to agree with that. He can't go to, I don't know any of their names. He can't go to a commissioner and say, hey, Miami Springs needs to have annexation. Can you help us out? That don't matter. They're in their own district. They're not going to worry about what Miami Springs.
Well, Mayor, you know, the other thing is the fact that they don't just represent us. So they're playing us against other
I
people.
said that. That's what I just said.
Right,
Yes. So in my mind, annexation, I don't want to spend another penny on it.
right. Me
Frankly.
either. Me either.
I don't. I'm tired of it.
And the other thing about, you know, and we've said this before, the bed tax thing, that's a no-brainer. That's no investment to the
I
city.
don't think you need a lobbyist for the bed
You
tax
don't.
money. I think
But-
Brian
but
Eberl
we
on his own can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the annexation, though,
And with our
there's
help.
going to be infrastructure.
We
We're going to have to spend money if annexation ever hits, ever, if it ever will. But the bed tax is just clean money.
I
Well-
think we're much more powerful representatives of the city ourselves by reaching out
Right.
to
I agree with her.
to our
Totally.
We had to do that last
commissioners
time.
and
She's
legislators
agreeing
and
with
stuff.
you.
Yes.
We had to do that last time when we
That's
went to
what I am.
Tallahassee.
We all are in agreement.
You know, I don't
But
wanna
So are
speak
you.
up-
I believe, and I don't, I'm okay either way. I think everything we've discussed here has been very productive about this. I would like to leave some money in the budget for lobbyists and I think the per issue is really important. That's the way to go. That's where we can direct our effort. But we should leave some money in the budget for
Okay.
that,
I'm
like the
gonna tell
mayor
you-
Okay,
suggested.
okay, fair enough.
I'm going to tell you
30.
quite
I'm going to make a suggestion based on what
about
Councilwoman.
time you said something.
Say what you want. 30 grand, 30,000.
Let's leave 25,000 in there.
Okay,
Kill it 20.
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
25.
25.
25?
25.
Everybody's
Also-
okay with 25?
Huh?
Easily.
Okay, we go
also,
with 30, Councilman?
you know,
No, let's do 25.
let's go like, well, hey, listen, make a motion. Don't, you have to agree with
Motion to move to
I'm
reduce
sorry,
the.
this is a workshop, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
don't
can't-
do
we can't
motions at a
vote.
workshop.
Yeah, we
You can have
can't.
consensus or direct staff to.
Okay,
Councilman, if we go with 30, I
Thank
feel a
you,
little
City
more
Clerk.
comfortable of having that little wiggle room of, for an issue, I'd hate to
Let's
have to
ma-
dig.
let's-
And we can always put it back hopefully, we won't need it.
let's make our job more difficult and make it 25.
All right, you got a 25. I got a 30.
I go with 30. I think 25
30.
is too
All
high.
right, it's 30.
Ugh.
But don't be mad.
Okay,
Don't be
I'm not
sad.
mad.
You
I'm
saved
not-
20.
I'm
You
not
started
sad.
this.
You
I
brought
did.
up a great,
Mayor.
you
Yes,
brought up
you
a great
did.
issue.
So-
So we knocked it down 15 grand.
Yes.
Yes,
No.
that's good.
And
Yeah.
maybe less.
And maybe more.
Maybe, maybe
You did
more.
good.
Maybe more.
You did good. You did good.
Thank you for
Now-
bringing this
Thank
up.
you, thank you.
And I give you another example about that. You know, I don't see how if a lot. You know, I understand our representatives are up there, but you mean tell me they couldn't twist some arms? Supposedly, that's what they're supposed to do. Twist some arms for that money for the food for the seniors.
I know, right?
You think that?
Yeah,
they,
we lost that too.
yeah,
Right.
you don't think that? Okay,
that's also
maybe
occurred
not
to
the
me.
other. We want the community. What was the other big?
Stormwater.
Stormwater.
That
Okay, no stormwater. You mean to tell me you couldn't twist a little bit for another 100,000 for senior citizens that I can't go up there and make a pitch that, come on, man.
And now we, and now,
you
yeah.
can't give us 750 and 100,000 for the seniors and give us the $850,000. You know, you got to negotiate just like we did right now at this table.
Right.
You got to negotiate, but you got to be willing to give a little bit too, which you did. you didn't have no choice. It was 4-1, 3-2. but-
We didn't have a vote, Mayor.
No, that's a consensus. That's a consensus.
I just wanted to make a comment based on what the mayor just said. Governor DeSantis spoke at the conference, and one of the things that he mentioned was that when municipalities, he basically opened it up for anyone to go talk to him and ask for money.
Well,
And he
that's-
said, when you come and ask, don't be surprised if we ask you, what are you putting in the game, and be prepared to tell us, which I thought was fair. He
was
says, we're going to
excellent.
ask you, what are
very
you
good.
putting in there,
Well-
and be prepared to provide us with that. So
Let me give
just
you another
a
example.
thought.
I'm supposed to get a meeting with the governor.
When?
That's what I'm asking my lobbyist. When? He's supposed to set me up with a meeting.
I-
How long's he been there, the governor? I haven't got any
He
meetings.
was excellent. His presentation in the
Yes,
general
it was
session
good.
was very, very
He's a,
good.
he's a good governor
Very
so
down
far.
to earth, very like no
He's
nonsense.
just got to watch himself about environmental issues to be more practical about it. But other than that, he's doing a good job.
I got something for you after that on that. From
All right, now,
P&L.
Oh
since
my
we
gosh.
saved 15 grand,
Okay, here's,
not a lot of
well,
money,
we
you should've
saved
saved
15, but we added 4,800 for Eric Ritchie's project.
yeah, so we are,
So now we're up to 115,839
no,
in the surplus.
should be 20.
Hmm?
Should be 20.
120.
We saved 12 to start the meeting.
Yeah, we started at 105,639.
No, I'm
surplus.
going by the budget. I'm not, by
Yeah.
the budget. When we started tonight, you showed us that we reduced it $12,000.
Right,
Okay, now we put the money back for Ritchie.
right.
Take
48.
that out of the
Okay,
12.
so right now we're at 115,839 as a surplus.
You're making me-
115.
Yeah, the surplus.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying. yeah.
What did we start the night with?
105,639,
105.
including the two changes that we discussed.
And I'm trying to tell you that we should have a 120. We should have,
115,839. We actually saved 4,100 and 6,400,
right, which is,
10,500.
Okay.
In those two things.
right. Then we went back and spent on Eric Ritchie's project,
48.
4,800,
which leaves what out of that?
5,500.
52, 55.
55.
And now we just saved 15 on the lobbyist, so that's 20.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
So we're 115,839.
That's, well, he's saying something, but you're right, though.
No,
It
I'm
is-
not,
it
because
is
we
20.
started at what?
No.
No.
I know.
I'm right.
Oh, wait,
20.
we started the first meeting with,
No, I'm talking about tonight.
yeah, no. We started at 97,339
Yep.
originally.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And then we saved
it's
97.
15,000 from the 10,500.
Okay, add that to the 97, which is what?
Telling you, we're 115,839.
Should be 120.
Huh?
Should be 120.
You got
Tonight we
120.
saved 20, almost 20 grand. We were 10,000 better starting this meeting. We just went ahead and got 15, which makes 25. Now we're spending the 4,800 to Eric Ritchie. We should have
20.
we
Added
should
to
have
the
20.
97, that's 107. 117.
Okay.
So 17 instead of 20. You're close.
Okay, it's close.
That's close. No, but I saw what you meant, though.
117. That's as the millage stays as it is.
As
We're
it
not
is.
done yet.
Well, now we got to see about these. You want to discuss the
1-4.
the wish list? 1-4.
1-4.
So how much money do we have after all? Left over?
115,839.
I have nothing on this wish list that I want.
Not real excited about it.
I don't either. I've already reviewed them.
I have nothing on here that I
I
want.
have,
I wanted a
Honestly.
real window for Erica, but that's not happening. That's
She
all
got
that I
one last
wanted.
year. She got one last year. She never
No,
installed
it's not
it.
real.
She never installed it, though.
No, she
I
has
have-
it installed. I
I
want Sun to come into
Son.
her office. She deserves that, but
have an issue with, well, I'm not even gonna go there, but I think the black olive mite treatment is extremely important for our city. Coral
Agree.
Gables is doing that, and this
Agree.
is, we're trying to protect our tree canopy, and this treatment helps protect the black olives, which a lot of residents want removed from their swale because it stains. So this is a way to prevent that staining, and,
But it has to be repeated after a certain time.
well, everything does. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
but-
like maintenance
but-
on
But
everything.
you made an oxymoron statement. You said, to save the tree, and then you say residents want to remove the tree.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They want trees removed, Mayor,
I-
because they stain.
Right.
So this prevents the staining so that the residents who want the
In
trees
theory.
removed.
In
No, it
theory.
works. It's
In
Coral
theory,
Gables
yeah,
is doing
and-
it.
But then the other result is that the tree gets immune to the system, and then it starts all over again.
Well, that's with everything over time.
Yeah, so that's her opinion, but I'm not spending $23,000 on it.
I think it's a huge amount of money.
That's a lot of money.
Well, we're spending 175,000 on tree maintenance,
No, 200.
200,000 on
Yeah.
tree maintenance.
Yeah.
This is part of tree maintenance.
No, this is a wish list that would be above and
What I'm saying is that this is the same as tree maintenance. I know it's on the wish list.
No, I'm not gonna raise the millage rate for that.
How can the city planner want an office window based on where his office is? Is that even anything that,
I want consensus on the first thing.
Okay.
Are we gonna go ahead and spend 23,000 on the black olives?
I say yes.
I can't go 23,000 on that, no.
So you're a no?
No.
No?
It's too much money.
You? No?
23,000?
Yeah.
Does it have to be 23,000
Yeah.
That's what it is.
for all the trees? Because
But
Yeah,
but
no,
look
it's a-
for the
it's-
black
it's a
olive.
All the
process.
black olive
It's a
trees.
process.
Yes or no?
To treat them.
I already answered you.
No?
I already answered you.
Okay, so it's done. That's
Okay.
dropped. Go to another one.
Okay,
then.
westward tree lighting. This is something, as you remember, as the council remembers, that Charlie Leonard and Kenny, John Kenny from the Rotary Club presented to the city saying, and it's true, if you look at Westward Drive, we have, around the gazebo and stuff, it's nicely lit, but Westward Drive, which is our business area, is just dark. As soon as it gets dark, so what they proposed was that having businesses sponsor a tree over the holidays, and they would provide the lights for it if the city provided the electrical outlet. We don't have electricity on Westward Drive. This seems like something that would be reasonable for us to have on Westward Drive anyway, to provide electricity.
What is the city's responsibility? We don't have enough electric to do this?
No.
So we don't have enough?
No.
Where does the $20,000 come from?
That's the price of getting.
You had it,
The electricity.
you had it legitimately quoted? Or
They have to do underground boring. to go
Conduit.
from-
but do we have to
Yeah.
put out for an RFP or RFQ to make sure
No.
that's 20?
No,
It is 20, period.
yeah. Well, that's the initial price we got from Computer Electric
Okay,
estimate.
and
But
the
we'll
other thing
get
I'd-
3 quotes.
okay.
Like to add to that, even though Charlie Leonard and John Kenny presented it as for Christmas, if you go down to other cities, like I was down at Miracle Mile a few weeks ago, this is something that perhaps could stay lit and light up Westward Drive, which is our business area, and it suffers after dark. It could stay lit throughout the year.
But,
And
Councilwoman, though, what is open after dark?
Right.
we have
on Westward
several
Drive.
restaurants there.
Two or
Well-
no, they're closed.
You know,
No, they're open after dark.
let me,
Restaurants.
you're in a, I would almost say I would be for this, except for one reason. At this particular budget, is because of the fact of all the different things that are gonna be going on down there.
The construction and stuff.
Construction and everything like that, far as, the new project that's gonna go there, possibly other one. I feel like maybe when them 2 projects are done,
It might make sense.
then it might, in my mind, not make sense, I would do it when they're done. But to go ahead and do it with all the construction and everything going like that, it might even be a detriment to what you're trying to do because of the wear and tear of what's going on around there. Plus the fact that they're gonna repave all around the circle, correct, William?
Yes.
So that repave and restripe and do this, I almost feel like I would almost put it as a designation, but I wouldn't put it as something that we want to do. In other words, I'd leave it in the surplus as a designation to do that, like we have other projects. And if it behooves us down the road in this year's budget to use it, I would support that.
Okay.
But to go ahead and say spend it, I would wait until it's the proper time.
All right, and I appreciate that, Mayor, and what I'm thinking is perhaps, and I think, William, you had brought this up, that perhaps what we can do is in increments of per block, not necessarily do the
All right,
entire.
I'll make the proposal
so-
like this. If people, before we do that, are there any other things on
Yes.
here in the wish list?
No, I might,
no?
I want to have a question about what we're talking about. Now, does it make more sense to do it now that, like the mayor says, they're doing all this construction? Because once you pave everything nicely, are we gonna have to dig anything up? Does it make sense to do it now, or does it make, that it doesn't, or it doesn't matter?
No, you're gonna probably have to dig up to
That's
put
what I'm
electrical
saying. We're
conduit
digging up
in.
everything
Yeah.
now. Maybe it
Right.
makes sense to do it
Yeah,
now.
but it might not be in the same place where the conduit
That's-
goes either, that's the other thing.
Can you
Up
look
the
into
pro-
that?
Can you,
Yeah.
you look into that? I'd
No,
like
no,
to make,
let's designate it. If we're gonna
Okay.
decide anything, we'll designate it. But that doesn't mean we're gonna spend it this budget.
okay, but that we may, if it's
We
possible.
designated it's
Okay.
there, but
Okay.
we might not use it this budget.
Okay, I would like to say something with the office windows, because it keeps cropping up. To me, this building is a very unique. It was built, in the mid-century modern style. And to put in any extra windows or anything that defaces the front of the building and the style of the building, I would be very against.
But we're
And-
going by the wish list, because everybody said,
I was actually being facetious about the window thing right now, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
I don't
and
want to
that's
create a
my
whole
is
issue about the architecture or anything.
I mean, I
That's-
love windows, but it's.
Is this
uh,
a misprint on 1.4 under the city planner? Office window?
That's the one we're talking about, right?
Well, it's one of the ones we're talking about, but did we not discuss earlier about him going to a national convention that he's been wanting to go to for?
That was approved.
Is that 5? I know it was, but this is additional 5,000.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is something else. This
This
is,
is a
he
wish
wants, like
list.
Eric,
Thank you.
a window on his wall.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Mitchell, can you get him a picture too, please?
I will.
Maybe
There you
maybe Erica can give him hers.
No, I will get him his own unique one.
Yeah.
There you go. Mayor, I
the-
like the GPS for all the employees. That's something I think we should consider.
What do you mean? What do you want?
Why?
I don't understand.
GPS?
This is cop stuff. This is not.
No, but I mean, these
GPS
guys
for-
are out there working too. If they get hurt,
The city's 3.5 million square miles. Come on.
yeah, but if you don't know where they're at, it's just a safety issue, something we need to
Well,
look at.
the only reason, we put it on there is because I believe someone had mentioned
think
it during.
Councilwoman
when we were talking
Mitchell's the
about
one who
police
brought it
and all
up.
that, including a price for
Yeah, it was
everything.
you.
I
Yeah.
did?
But to be honest with
I
you,
don't
Tom
remember
Nash really put it on
I
there
don't
because of
remember
that reason and gave it a priority of 3 because he really doesn't think he needs it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
really.
I don't,
Yeah.
All right, no GPS? No,
Okay.
no,
No.
Okay.
all right, but still, there's if nobody else has other things on here.
You're the only one
wish
who wants to
list.
spend money.
I'm just gonna say that nothing that is on here, I'm gonna go for nothing that raises the millage rate, am I going
Well,
to
this won't raise
go
the
This
for?
won't
millage
raise
rate.
it, this is money
This
we
is
already
just
have
the
to
excess.
spend.
This is,
Excess.
It will.
It's from the 15.
It'll take off where we're.
yeah, but I
Okay.
mean, it's not gonna raise the rate, but
Okay,
you're right, technically, you're still spending residents' money.
right.
Right.
Okay.
I don't see
the,
anything here that's like,
I
earth-shattering must-have, so.
gotcha.
Okay,
I
the
feel the same way.
electric,
Going to do your nails.
the electric vehicle charging station, I believe that we may have found a way to get that installed free.
Good.
But I would like to ask the council to, I think the electric vehicle charging stations is just something, we have one at the golf course, we should have one downtown. If you go to other cities, they have it in your business area where you can charge your vehicle while you're eating lunch, while you're shopping. So I
Again-
would like to ask if we set that money in there and make it available if we can't come up with the free,
You could put it as a designation because it's gonna stay in there and spend it. But I think, again, you're not doing any foresight on the fact that the construction's gonna go on there.
Right.
And there's no reason to have a charging station there for this year.
it's not going to be right away, it'll be down the road.
Yeah,
But then we should leave it for next year's budget.
right.
Yeah. How many electric cars are there in Miami Springs?
How
Actually,
much use has
Plus
the
you're
one
gonna
in the
put
golf
that-
course had?
Plus
Yeah,
the
no.
argument that was very much made about parking. You're
Exactly.
gonna take parking spots away
Yes.
from downtown.
How much
So I
use?
think
I
you
think
gotta,
that's, as far as what Councilwoman Mitchell was talking about, FPL just came out with a program
Yeah.
this year where they provide the chargers free and they install them for you.
right.
The issue is gonna come in, we're gonna have to dedicate 2 parking spaces to it. And in the downtown area, you're either talking on Canal Street or the public parking lot behind Crackers.
Right.
To be close enough to the downtown area for
Right.
people to use. So that's gonna be the issue, to talk about. Now, in answer to Councilman Petrolanda's, the one at the golf course was installed it went into operation December 11th of 2018. Between that date and July 31st, according to the report, there have been 78 sessions of vehicle charges with 45 unique drivers. That means 45 different drivers have used it 78 times in, 7.5 months? And the actual cost of electricity has been, for that period, is $110.
Do we consider that a success, or
Hmm?
do we consider that a success?
I don't know. I don't know how to.
I don't know how to-
gauge this, you know,
exactly.
it's 7.5 months,
They're-
78,
it's
so you
getting
haven't.
used,
Yeah,
and
but
What, 10 a month?
we're taking up 2 spaces for that.
at the golf course where we have tons of spaces, so we offer that to people who use the golf course.
And
that
we're
they
talking
can
about
charge their
downtown now,
vehicle.
right?
Right, this one would be for downtown, but right now, the one that we have is at the golf course. We have plenty of spaces there, so it's not taking up 2 spaces.
I have the,
This is just something that
I know.
the cities are offering if we really want to,
but the city
on
should,
par
the
with-
city, in my position here, is to offer for the residents.
the
Not-
residents charge at home, Mayor.
That's right.
This is
I
for,
don't look to offer for other people coming
no,
into our
this is
city.
for our
I
business
look
area to come
I
in.
understand.
And you charge your vehicle like Publix does at Doral. You go to
Well,
Publix, you charge your vehicle while you shop.
I have
or
demand-
use those restaurants.
I
I,
have
uh,
what's the first meeting in September?
I
I have-
I cannot support that 8250, Councilwoman Mitchell. However, your next item, I am in full support of, the $1,000 for the Pelican
Well, that
Harbor.
was the mayor had them come and speak, and
I'm all over that one. I go for that.
Okay.
they announced
$1,000.
that they do take, I mean, it's nice to have an organization that if we have injured animals, that instead of
will-
just calling the police, we can
I'm all over that one.
send
The
them by
1,000.
Where
The
are
eight-
we-
the
where are we looking at
8250
the $1,000?
negative.
Remember I had that come in about.
Last
Yes,
item
but
under-
where's that
under
here?
Councilman Mitchell's
It's the
consent.
Pelican thing there.
well, because he
Where's that
had
at?
them come talk.
I don't even see it.
All the way,
The last
you
item.
see where it says council request?
Oh, I see.
Is the
1.4,
second one.
1.4.
We agree to do it for that one.
Want to? I mean,
I thought it
do.
was, I thought it was a good idea.
I do too.
So that's why I brought him here.
That's the only thing on the page I agree with,
Okay.
to make it easy.
All right, so in the wish list, we definitely, we're gonna go ahead and, the Westward Drive lighting, because that support of the different clubs in John Kenny.
Yep.
We're gonna put that as a designation
Designation.
and see what happens.
Mhm.
But we're not spending it until it's the right time.
But Mayor, let's see what the city manager comes back with as far as do we do it now that we're tearing up all the ground, or we wait like you want?
It's a
The
designation.
designation change.
Yes,
doesn't
I
matter.
understand that, but
And the
if you tell us that this is a time to do it, then we can move it from designation to doing it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, that's without
Absolutely.
saying.
That's what designation is.
It means.
Well, designation could also be for next year, after
No,
all that's
no, that's
completed.
discussed next year.
I know what designation is, so.
All right, so out of the wish list, we're gonna spend 1,000 on the Pelican.
Nice.
Right,
For the Pelican. That's
and,
decent.
Is that it?
and
I really strongly would like y'all to consider the black olive treatment
well,
again
I'm not spending 23,000. I'm not, and you lost
for our
it
tree
anyway. It's
canopy.
that we
If there
can't
was-
vote on it, but consensus was 4-1 not to do it.
I'd like to help
sometimes
you with
you
that, but I
win,
can't go
sometimes you lose.
$23,000.
Good time Charlie's got the blues.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Okay? We're square? We're there?
Are we done?
I think we're good, sir.
I had something I wanted to say, but I
Well, what was it?
forgot.
Say it, say it,
Say it.
say it.
I forgot.
He forgot.
But right now, leaving this meeting, coming into September meeting, oh, I know what it was. I'm gonna
Ah.
have at September meeting, the fella that supports the electric cars.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have him do a presentation.
Okay.
I
On one
told-
of our September meetings.
Yeah, it's gonna be just a presentation, because I give everybody their due. Just matter when you,
That's
he's
fair.
gonna do the presentation, he's gotta keep it under 5 minutes.
Is that Gene Mark?
Yeah,
G-Mark, yeah.
he's got a real nice thing he sent me, it's really nice. So he could come do it, show everybody what he wants to show. And, I give him his credit for being activist in that part, and I'll give him his time.
Look forward to hearing them.
But as far as I'm concerned, when it's time to put the electric chargers in, I support it, but it's not the time right now. Okay, this meeting's adjourned.
Eric?
It's not a lot of money, but